what it is. Back. We is back. Make sure you hit that like button, man. Make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, yo. Cause I'm about sick. I'm about sick of ignorance. G man, Dave on what it is. Yeah, we hit 26,000 subscribers too. Finally, we should have been there for real. I don't be tripping about that. You know that's what they do, bro. Fake narratives is what's popping, man. Why they say he telling? Why they say he telling? Hit that like button, y'all. Share the live. Where I put these tags in the video. What's the proof, y'all? What are they alleging? Tell them about what? I think if we was tell it, arrest would have been made. Live from the kitchen. Yo, people gotta stop with that shit, yo. Like, yo, his lawyer bringing his name up is not yo telling. That's the lawyer trying to get his client off. Like, yo, that's why these guys need to start speaking on shit they don't know nothing about. That's the same narrative they try to run on Tax Tone. The same narrative that um 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 Trenches News over there running on Teasy. Like, yo, that shit that go in motions and shit that go on in court is not telling, man. Telling is done to the police. Telling is done to the motherfucking prosecutors. They don't know what the fuck they talking about, yo. I don't even entertain it, yo. It's stupidity. Shut your dumb ass up. This is a poop reacts. All right, but look, right? Yeah, I'm about sick of ignorance. Yo, we got a lot of ignorance running around, y'all. That shit is like running rampant. Like, yo, people don't even understand the first order of business, yo. People don't understand the first order of business. So, earlier today, Gucci Mane wife, Keisha Dior, did an interview. And in this interview, which she was out of line. You know what I mean? First and foremost. The question was out of line. She was out of line for responding to the question. But she was wrong. And I get it, you know. You want to take up for your husband. Yo, but it ain't even her. You know, she did what was expected. It's people in the comments, yo. Like, we got to be the dumbest people in the world sometimes. Really real what it is. Yeah, we got to be the dumbest people sometimes, y'all. Motherfuckers just don't understand business, y'all. What the fuck that girl, What's the other guy name? What's the guy name that OD that was with 1017 Brick Squad? Big Scar. All right, look right. So let me show y'all something. So y'all remember yo when Gucci Mane had all these people, Queso trial going on? Gotta check that out too. Y'all remember when Gucci Mane had all these artists, right? It's crazy. Who the fuck is that? Hey, well look, right? What he had? The girl with Chan. Who was part of the new 1017? What artist was signed to Gucci Mane? Pooh Shiesty, Fujiano, Big Scar, and there was a whole bunch of other niggas. Hold on. Yo, cause we gotta get to the bottom of this, y'all. Cause niggas is stupid. Hot Boy West, Hood Rich Pablo Juan. So Big Scar is dead. Pooh Shiesty is arrested. Fujiano is arrested. Hot Boy West is arrested. Hood Rich Pablo Juan is arrested. Big Walk Dug is still around. Matt Critter is gone. Well, he ain't dead, but he ain't with Gucci Mane no more. And Love and Chanting, they lost their life. Right? So Gucci Mane wife did an interview, and I want y'all to listen to what she had to say, y'all. But it's not even her, cause she ain't saying nothing that's not expected. It ain't her, yo. It's the comments. The comments and black people, yo, say some of the dumbest shit in the world sometimes. So this is what she said. Hold on. Cause we gotta get an understanding here, man. We gotta come to some type of understanding. A lot of our your husband gets the respect he deserves in terms of being a trap. Your husband gets the respect he deserves in terms of being a trap king. And Gucci's been in the game for over 20 years. He finds artists. Now, with 1017, a lot of our artists went to jail. Some have passed. They blame him for it. How? These people are on drugs. He purposely signed troubled kids to get them a way out. And, you know, they overdose, they commit crimes, and they go to prison. Now Gucci gets the blame. So now it's like, do I keep signing these people and for you guys to talk about my record label when I'm trying to sign the kids in the hood that's less fortunate? So it kind of backfired on him, you know? But which is a great A&R, so we'll just keep pushing. Your husband gets the respect he deserves. You don't have a comment. Right. And I know you only comment when it's the like y'all don't leave my husband alone. Yeah. Oh, this one died, he didn't pay for the funeral. Of course we did, but we didn't post that we did. You know, it's just unfortunate, and I wish they wouldn't go out and do this, but Gucci's not their dad. You know, like, hey, don't. Which he did talk to them and say, you guys gotta focus on your music and stop getting high. But then they be looking at him like, you used to do the same shit. You know, but I always tell them, you're not their parents. It's only so much you can do. Yeah. You know? And you don't have a comment. And I know you only Hot Boy West sentenced to 15 years in prison. Fujiano sentenced to 5 years in prison. Pusheisty 5 years in prison. FTO Set arrested after his bond was revoked on drug and firearms charges. Big Scar dead. Enchanting dead. Yo. So you got people all in the comments. Yo, it ain't Gucci fault. It ain't Gucci fault. That's how you know, yo, people, yo, you gotta pay the cost to be the boss, y'all. Yo, if you're the boss, everything is your fault. The fuck, like, yo, why are people so fucking stupid? And like I said, it ain't her, cause you know she did what she supposed to do. I'm talking about the people in the comments, yo, the people that's watching, the people that's, yeah, you can't blame Gucci. Why the fuck you can't? Yo, if any business fails, it falls at the top. Any business. 1017 failed. 1017, the new 1017 failed, yo. It's Gucci fault, yo. Why did they fail? Because Fujiano went to jail. Pooh Shiesty went to jail. Love and Chanting OD. Big Scar OD. Hot Boy West went to jail. Yo, let me show y'all something. Let me read y'all something. So I typed in when a company fails, who's to blame? and what it said was you gotta blame leadership. Why? Lack of vision and strategy. Without a clear vision and effective leadership, a business can lack direction and motivation, leading to failure. Failure to adapt. Successful businesses need to be agile and adapt to market changes and challenges. Inaction or resistance to change can be critical failure point for leadership. Ignoring feedback. Not being able to be open, honest, objective, external feedback can lead to missteps and lack of understanding about the true state of the business. So this is the question. When a successful business fails, the leadership is ultimately to blame, as they are responsible for strategic direction, management, and the overall health of the organization. While external factors and the actions of stakeholders like employees or investors can contribute, successful entrepreneurs and leaders accept responsibility for failures, viewing them as an opportunity to learn rather than opportunities to blame others. Yo, you gotta blame Gucci, yo. Like, yo, why, yo, yo, people don't know business. People, like, yo, that is fucking that's business 101. Yo, that is business 101. When it fails, it falls at the feet of the fucking head honcho. Poor management. If the management team is ineffective, its executive leadership responsibility is to address it. So if you know you got Pooh Shiesty running the streets, you got Hot Boy West running the streets, you got Love and Chatting getting high, you got Big Scar getting high. Yo, your job as the leader, as the boss, is to know this and make adjustments. Yo, Pooh Shiesty, you gotta start fucking with them boys, man. You feel me? Oh, this shit. If his angle and his direction was to hire unfortunate kids from humble upbringings and put them on the team and pay them, he supposed to have that in the contract. You feel me? Yo, if you're not listening to what I'm telling you, yo, we gonna have to part ways. I need y'all in the studio this many times a week. I need this many songs. You gotta blame Gucci. You gotta blame Gucci, man. Man, Chicago in the building. Financial mismanagement, running out of cash, poor cash flow, inadequate budgeting, and resource misallocations are frequent culprits, directly linked to leadership, financial oversight. Yo, can people stop being dumb? If I was to go to the comments of that post I just read, or that shit I just read, all you gonna see is, right, you can't blame Gucci, that's their fault. Yeah, they can't blame Gucci. That's what people gotta understand. It's no reason for Brick Baby to blame Adam for crashing out. loose cannon can't blame Whack for crashing out. But us, as the viewers, as the motherfucking what you wanna call that shit? The damn, what the fuck is the word? I got that shit right in my mind. Well, us as the people, yo, we're supposed to look at the whole situation and say, yo, that's poor management. That falls on management. That falls on leadership. Regardless, if they all made independent decisions, the overall issue is leadership, yo. So you gotta take the blame. And when you the boss, you have to take the blame even when it ain't your fault. That's why everybody can't be bosses, y'all. That's why we living in a fucked up world right now where everybody think they can be the boss, but the boss take full accountability for everybody's actions, man. That's what the boss does, man. That's what the boss does. Now, I'm not tripping off of Shorty, his wife. She did, that's just she gonna do what she supposed to do. It's the people that's co-signing it. Yeah, you right. It ain't his fault. Yes, the fuck it is, man. Yes, it is. And Gucci need to take accountability for that. If you was the boss, you supposed to make sure all your ducks was in a row. Motherfucking Pooh Shicey shouldn't been out this bitch robbing niggas. You know what I mean? Big Scar should have been in Memphis getting high on fake perks. That's their job, bro. Because you know why? When a new 1017 was thriving, man, Gucci got a roster. Yo, Gucci got an all-star lineup. Yo, it ain't nothing to disagree with. It's facts, bro. Like, you can't disagree with facts, bro. This is not my opinion. This is facts. I'm not giving you my opinion right now, yo. This is facts. If you disagree, that's hey. But what I'm saying is facts, bro. When Gucci Mane first signed them people, and Pooh Shiesty was doing this thing, Fujiano was doing this thing, everybody was doing it. Man, Gucci got, man, yo, Gucci fucking with Yo Gotti. Gucci doing it. But now, when it all fall down, he don't take no blame. Man, get the fuck out of here, man. Niggas is crazy. That just sound foolish. That just sound foolish. When you the head, you take the praise and you take the blame. Niggas want to take all the praise but don't want no blame. No, it don't go like that, yo. It don't go like that. That's not how that shit work. that's not how that shit work, man. If motherfucking Pooh Shiesty would have made it to goddamn raw wave level, and Fujiano would have got the dirt level, it'd be like, yo, damn, yo, Gucci done did it. Right? Am I lying? Yo, no why? No, it is, bro. Because no why? The job goal is to vet his employees, bro. The job goal is to vet his employees. So if I was to rob somebody in a tow truck, I'm not gonna get sued. You know who gonna get sued? The motherfucking company. Because you supposed to vet your. That's why they do background checks, bro. That's why they do background checks. That's why you catch certain cases down, we try and give you a job, bro, because it falls on employees. Now, I can't blame them. See, this people gotta understand. It's a difference. Pooh Shiesty can't blame nobody for his actions. He did it. He can't sit back and say, yo, Gucci, yo, you supposed to did better. Nah. But us as the consumers, as the people that's evaluating the whole situation, it's on Gucci, yo. It's on Gucci. But like I said, if it's not about he shouldn't have signed them. He supposed to have barriers in place. You knew what you was dealing with. If you knew that you was dealing with people coming from a certain background, people living a certain lifestyle, your job as the boss is to put barriers in place. NBA do it all the time. NFL do it all the time. That's your job, yo. Niggas not bosses for real. But boss not going to get sued if you do it off work time, right? If I'm in the truck, but we ain't talking about, it is work time. Them niggas work full time. Them niggas ain't got no set schedule. Like I said, y'all, they can't blame nobody. Pusha can't blame nobody. Cowboy West can't blame nobody. They can't blame Gucci. I'm talking about us as the consumers. Us as the consumers. If Amazon fails, if Jeff Bezos fails and Amazon turn to shit, it won't matter, yo, if the accountant was embezzling motherfucking millions a month. You can't blame the accountant. Jeff Bezos, you supposed to court that shit, bro. You supposed to court that. How you let him sink the company? It don't matter what this person did. How you let them sink the company? Yo, you ain't know they were stealing money for 10 years. It took you 10 years to finally figure out that they were stealing money. Yo, that's your fault, yo. Because you know why? You supposed to nip that shit in the bud after the first year or however. You supposed to nip that shit in the bud. It wasn't never supposed to last that long. Yeah, that's the first. That's the number one. Yeah, that's the number one rule in business, y'all. Everything falls on the owner, y'all. Everything falls on the leader, y'all. Everything falls on the leader. That's why everybody can't be bosses, y'all. Because that's rule number one. If I'm running a motherfucking dope shop and all my hitters is getting knocked off left and right, then yo, I'm running the dope shop wrong. I'm running the dope shop. I gotta be doing something wrong because my job is to put these people in position to win. That's your job as the supervisor, as the boss, as the leader. Your job is to put people in position to win. If I'm putting people in position and they losing, then yo, I'm doing something wrong, bro. That's just what it is, man. And this is not and this is not my opinion, yo. This is facts, man. No, he didn't. No, he didn't put him in position. Yo, he actually put him in position to fail. If me and my man was he actually put him in position to fail. Yo, you know you getting some of the worst of the worst. You going to the depths of Memphis. You going into the trenches. You giving these motherfuckers $500,000, $1 million, and letting them go back to the trenches. Yo, come on now. You set them up to lose. You actually doing the exact opposite. You was setting them up to lose, man. No, it's not. He shouldn't have signed them. He should have made sure that when he signed them, everything was intact. He supposed to have barriers set up, yo. Yo, Carmelo Anthony. Let's talk about Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony was in a Stop Snitching DVD. Did y'all see what they said to Carmelo Anthony once that? Do y'all know what the NBA told Carmelo Anthony once he got caught up in that Stop Snitching shit and all them boys went to federal prison and all that shit? NBA said, yo, you gotta cut them off. You gotta cut them off. It's either you cutting them off or we cutting you off. But you can't have it both ways. That's what you're supposed to do as the leader, y'all. Well, if that's the case, he should never, you know. That's when you part ways with him because you don't want that shit to fall back on you. If he was giving them advice and they wasn't listening, yo, it should have been a void in the contract. Because I can't let that fall back on me because that's you see what's going. It falls back on you. No matter what happens, yo. No matter how you characterize it, yo. It all falls. That's why some people don't like being the boss. That's why you got some people they just want to get fronted. They don't want to run their own shit. They rather get fronted because being the boss comes with responsibility, man. Being the boss comes with responsibility. You know how you got them niggas. You know what I mean? You know how you got them people down. They don't want you to give them. They don't want 2 ounces of cane. They rather get 20 packs. You feel me? No, yo, I'm just gonna take the packs. You know what I mean? They don't want to spend their own money. They rather just get fronted. Because yo, when you spending your own money, when you are the leader of whatever you got going on, it comes with obligations. You gotta manage your money now. If I'm just throwing you shit and fronting you shit, you don't never gotta manage your money. All you gotta do is pay me. You feel me? I'm keeping the whole ship going. I'm just making sure you straight. Y'all know how you got them people, man. Exactly, JB. Heavy is the head that wear the crown, yo. And if Gucci wasn't ready to wear the crown, he should have never did it. Everybody not a boss, yo. It just shows that Gucci's not a boss. He's not a boss, y'all, because a boss don't crash out his workers, y'all. A boss make sure everybody look at Gotti. Look at Gotti. Look what the fuck Gotti doing. Gotti targets the same people. Gotti targets the same people. Ain't none of them going to jail. Ain't none of them getting booked. They all thriving. They still coming up. Yo, Gotti targets the same people, yo. Hey, she did a great job. Salute to her. I don't think she said nothing wrong. As far as for her, I'm talking about the people that's consuming it and agreeing. Like, nah, yo, that she did wrong. You understand? But in defense of her husband, that's what the fuck she supposed to say. That's what she supposed to say. I ain't mad at her. This video ain't even directed toward her. This video is directed toward the people that was commenting and the people that's watching and the people that's listening. Yo, everything falls at the feet of the boss, man. That's just what it is. Whether it's fair or unfair, that's just how it is. So that's why certain people don't want you around them. You know what I mean? If I'm flying right and you selling dope, y'all, I can't let you get around me, yo, because your shit might jeopardize me, bro. It's just about decision making. I can't let what you got going on. If I'm in the NBA and my brother selling dope, hey bro, I can't really fuck with you like that. Because it might come a time when the dope that you selling and the indictment that you catch lead to me. And I ain't got nothing to do with it. But like I said, Fujiano and Pushashi can't blame nobody. You know what I mean? They can't blame nobody. But us, we can blame every motherfucking body. Like I told y'all with the Adam 22 and the no jumper shit. Them niggas that go to no jumper and get federal indicted, they can't blame nobody. Not the grown men. They can't blame nobody for that. But us that's viewing it and watching the whole shit play out, yo, Adam, that's on you, bro. You the head. You running the show. How the fuck is it not your fault? Y'all this bitch asking wild ass questions trying to implicate people in murders. Whether they answer it or not, it's still your fault because you running the ship. You got the final say. You can press the button. You can edit this shit out. You can take the content in different directions. So yeah, it is your fault. No matter how it goes. No matter how it goes. Like I just be mad at the ignorance. Like, when she said that, everybody in the comments should have been like, man, hell no, that's Gucci fault. Because it is. And it's not debatable. You feel me? It's not debatable. It's not my opinion. It's just facts, yo. It's a fucked up world, yo. Should it be that way? I don't know. But that's what it is. That's how it always been. We ain't ready to start changing the rules now. If if the economy struggles, who the fuck get the blame? The president. It don't matter what happens in between time. It's the president's fault. Like I said, yo, if motherfucking if Facebook if Facebook fall off and go into bankruptcy, you gonna blame the head of it, yo. It don't matter if they was embezzling money. You feel me? Appreciate it, Max, for the $5 super sticker. No, bitch, can't say that shit. It don't matter if they was embezzling money. That shit don't matter. You supposed to court that shit, bro. How long they was embezzling? How much money? So you ain't know 500 million was took. You at the head of the organization didn't know that 500 million was stolen. That's your fault, bro. You gotta take that, man. Can't blame nobody else for that. chosen one. Why you coming here on some dumb shit? I'm just saying, though, y'all. It's not my opinion, y'all. It's just what it is. You know what I mean? It could be right, it could be wrong. This is the world we live in. This is what happens when you the head. That's why some people don't want to be the boss, yo. It's actually some people out here that don't want to be the boss, yo, because it comes with responsibility. You know what I mean? It comes with responsibility, yo. And everybody not willing to, to accept that responsibility. But once you accept that responsibility, then yo, everything that happens, yo, under you is on you. Whether it's right or wrong. Whether they all made their own decisions or not. Should have put them motherfuckers in the rehab or cut them off. Right, yo, it costs to be the boss, man. Y'all either gotta go to rehab or y'all done. That's simple. Contract terminated. Y'all even gotta go to rehab or y'all done, yo, because I can't afford to allow this black eye to be on me. Gene Deal. Gene Deal, when he blew the light. when Biggie got killed and Gene Deal blew the light, Gene Deal got fired, man. Gene Deal said that his job wasn't to protect Big, but Gene Deal was the head of security. He was the head. That's what he said anyway. He was the head of security. So no matter if your job, if your role that night was to protect Diddy, Biggie was still there. You feel me? So yo, you get fired, yo, and the whole staff. Is it right? It's life, yo. That's how that shit works. He did, yo. He blew the light, yo. That's what he did, yo. I mean, I ain't say that shit. He said it. Yeah, I mean, that man blew the light, yo. that nigga, that nigga ran 3 lights, yo. You feel me? Like, shit got real. He ran 3 lights. You know what I mean? You come back, tell the supervisor, look. So what you do, Jane? Now I blew the light. You know me. Hey, if I ain't said a real stick, you know what I do. I blew 3 lights. So what the fuck you made? So you ain't shoot nobody? No. I just blew the light. That's all. I came back when it was over though. Bluffing ass nigga. Hey yo, niggas crazy yo. But no, yo, I had to address that shit, yo. I be getting so frustrated with people, yo, and lack of knowledge. You know what I mean? Like that's business 101, yo. Like that's the first order of business, yo. Like that ain't even nothing deep to get into. That's the first order of business, yo. If the business fails, it falls on the owner, yo. You know what I mean? It's not debatable. You feel me? AJ did wild as shit, yo. Yo probably mad as shit I started paying attention to his ass, because I ain't paying attention to him before. That nigga probably sick. Like, yeah, I'm sick of this nigga keeping G news. People search their name up. They like to act like they don't know who talk about them and who's this, but everybody they search their name up, yo. What's up, T Mac? Man said, man, I blew the light. Nigga, make sure you knew I blew the light. Nigga said he knew I blew the light. Oh, yo. Let's go back to that conversation again, yo, before we switch to Queso. That shit was funny as shit. Yo, him saying he blew the light was almost as funny as what Hassan Campbell said. Nigga said, I be trying. Yeah. He'll say, yo, I don't be wanting to kill niggas. A lot of niggas. A lot of niggas. Nigga said, a lot of niggas. Hey,
Tyler Perry's Sisters. New season tonight at 9. Watch it live on BET.
a lot of niggas would have been dead if it wasn't for my brother.
Guess what? From now and
Did a nigga apologize to somebody that don't exist? I want to apologize to the mother of Danny Schofield.
till August 3rd, you can get any pizza and
These
any
niggas weird,
toppings for
man.
just.
When you talk, I don't say a thing. When I talk, I want the same respect. Now, what I told you was, and what you didn't hear. It's a natural reaction. They put mix in the faction. They put they make your show look better. Tell the absolute truth, man. What? All right.
Yeah, hell yeah, that's what he said. Yo.
Is he? Yeah, this he. What's up?
Nigga say, no, be like.
What's good? That's Mace. Mace, what's going on, Playboy? I'm good, man. I wanted to talk to you, man, because number one. You want me to put you on the show or what? I mean, you can. You can. You on the show right now? Yeah, I'm on my show right now, Mace. Yeah, I don't mind. I just like Dean, I know you. So I mean, the first thing I think, like you, when you be saying stuff, I think you need to be more truthful, man. Because you were there and you saw some things, but it seemed like you doing stuff for ratings and instead of just being real. If you want to tell people the truth, don't blemish my name and try to make your show look better. Tell the absolute truth, man. How do I blemish your name, man? I know, but you keep saying stuff like me and Diddy, like, you know I'm a real man. Like, why you gotta look at me funny about what you're saying, bro? How I got somebody, hold up. How do I have somebody looking at you funny, Mace? I mean, just straight up, because you know, like, you saying funny stuff about religion and all that, like, me and him saying, like, yo, you know, I don't even play like that, bro. Bro, let me tell you something. Like, did I say you and him was praying together? Go ahead. I'm gonna let you talk. I know you to be a real one. I know you to be a real one. Go ahead. I know you to be an upstanding guy. So I'm not expecting no funny business from you. Like, even in your show, you said some stuff about you and Puff was taking a picture when he was shot dead before he even got killed. But you never really addressed that. So if you want to start addressing stuff, bro, address the real stuff, man. Don't be playing around, because this is not a game. This is people's life. And I'm the only one really willing to say something or to do something about it. I ain't hiding behind no YouTube and all of that. So you saying, Mace, hold up. You saying that you know who I am. You know you go ahead. I'm saying in your video, it's in your video where you said you took a picture with a nigga who shot Big. That's crazy. Bruh. You said took a picture with him. Bruh. You're not listening. Bruh, listen here. Mace, when you talk, I don't say a thing. When I talk, I want the same respect. Now, what I told you was, and what you didn't hear, was they showed me a picture of me, Puff, and the nigga who killed, that Lucy said killed Big. The FBI said they saw the picture too. When they showed me the picture, they had the face blurred out. I didn't say I took a picture. I said the FBI. Yo, bro, I said the LAPD showed me a picture of me, Puff, and the nigga who shot Big. Lucy said. Why would you, Puff and Big? Why would you and Puff be taking a picture with a who did that? That don't make no sense. Because they showed me the picture. I don't know who took the picture. What do you mean? The nigga walked up the Puff car first. And I think, why was y'all with him? Puff was in the car. I was standing on the outside. This nigga was coming up down the drive. He was coming down the street. What are you talking about? Okay, so if you want to say something, Mace, tell us why you didn't go. Mace, why you didn't go to the party? Mace, why you didn't go to the party? Because I was in a hotel with Branch. not going to be. So, Mace, who told you, Mace, didn't I tell you, listen to him, Mace, did I tell, let's keep it 100. When you was riding around, let me answer. Go ahead. Let me answer the question. You guys was the security. If somebody shot the biggest rapper in the world, why y'all didn't shoot back? Y'all had guns? Mace, let me ask you something. I'm going to get to that. Mace, one question. When you was riding around Cali with Stevie J, didn't I pull you to the side and say, what the?
Hey, yo. He blew the light, yo. Make a long story short, he blew the light.
Say, what the fuck is you doing in a drop-top Benz riding around with Stevie J around Cali? Did I say that to you? Mace. Did I say that to you, Mace? That's some sucker. You hear what he just said? You don't want to know the truth.
What'd he say, James? OJ Dale out here blowing lights left and right.
That was your man, Mace.
Yeah.
Mace, you want to feel a certain kind of way, brother? You tell the truth. That ain't the only reason why you didn't go. You was in the room with Brandy. He talking about nobody shot back. He know me and Tone ran after them cats. He knew we blew the light. He know I told him.
Nigga crazy. Yeah, he really just said that shit, yo. I ain't gonna lie, yo. Shots get the fly, yo. Yo, don't come back telling niggas, bro. You know, we chased them down. You know what I mean? Niggas know I blew the light. Now, I'll be looking at you crazy, bro. Like, yo, if I hire security and something happened, if I hire security for my peoples and something happened to them, yo, don't come back to be talking about, I blew the light and I chased them down. Bitch, did you shoot? If you ain't shoot, you better just don't need nothing to talk about. Yo, J Dale funny as shit for that, yo. But yeah, though, y'all. That's 11:28. Yo, Queso is on trial right now, too. Father testifying on the son. Jacksonville.
And today, opening statements are expected to take center stage in the trial of Jacksonville rapper Hakeem Robinson, also known as Ksoo, 5 years after his arrest.
Jury selection has been going on since Monday. On your side's Claire Alfrey live right now with more on where they are in this case. Claire?
I don't think Ksoo father should be able to tell. For real. I don't think he should be able to tell, y'all. I think he should get more time than his kids. That's what I really think.
That's right, Keith and Lou, good morning. And this trial will decide the fate of Hakeem Robinson, rapper known as Ksoo, as he will face opening statements today after a week long of jury selection over the death of Charles McCormick back in 2020. And Robinson's own father plans to testify against him as a part of a plea deal. Now, Hakeem Robinson and his co-defendant Leroy Whittaker both have charges for first-degree murder. Despite being tried together, will have separate juries. His brother Abdul Robinson Jr. is also involved and has a first-degree murder charge, but will have a separate trial. According to police, McCormick was shot and killed at the Dames Point Plaza in Arlington back in January of 2020. Robinson's own song lyrics are expected to be used in the trial. In his song called Who I Smoke, some argue that it serves as a confession that the Jacksonville gang Robinson was a part of took the lives of others, including a second murder Robinson is being charged for, the 2019 killing of 16-year-old Adrian Gaynor. Now, jury selection has been going on here at the courthouse all week, and that jury is supposed to be finalized and be seated by lunchtime today to begin with opening statements. In Jacksonville, Claire Alfrey, First Coast News on your side.
Yo, how the fuck is they having? How are they on trial together?
In a
I got
world
two.
moving at the speed of light, you can't afford to be left in the
I
dark.
got two.
Enter Workday Lumen.
Oh, here open the statements right here. How they on trial together, but got two separate juries? That's crazy.
Yes.
So here go the open statements, y'all.
Members of the jury, good afternoon. This is the first opportunity that I have had to speak with you directly, so I wanted to take this opportunity to reintroduce myself to you. My name is Tara Kawas, and I, along with Christopher DeCos, we have the honor and privilege of representing Hakeem Robinson. Now, the government just got up here and told you that they're going to prove to you, beyond and to the exclusion of all reasonable doubt,
What's the defense
that
plan?
Hakeem Robinson is the person who shot and killed Charles McCormick on January 15th of 2020. But members of the jury, they are not going to be able to do that because Hakeem Robinson is innocent. And you are going to be able to see that for yourselves. That there is no way that Hakeem Robinson is the person that shot and killed Charles McCormick. In order to try and prove their case, they're going to ask you to do something that I've never seen before. They're going to ask you to not believe your eyes. They're going to ask you to ignore what you see right in front of you. Because as the government just told you, there is a video recording of this homicide, and you're going to be able to see it, and you're going to be able to watch it. You are going to see a person, someone, covered from head, or whatever's on top of his head, to toe, completely covered, chase down Charles McCormick in broad daylight and shoot him to death. And this was done in front of a bunch of witnesses. And the most important question in this case is going to be, who is the shooter? Who is the shooter? Members of the jury, that is the shooter. That is a still shot from the video that you will get. You will be presented with this during the course of this trial.
What up?
That is the shooter. Who is shooting to death? And this was done in front of a bunch of witnesses. And the most important question in this case is going to be, who is the shooter? Who is the shooter? Members of the jury, that is the shooter. That is a still shot from the video that you will get. You will be presented with this during the course of this trial. And what these prosecutors are going to ask you to do is to find that Hakeem Robinson, who's clearly well above 6 feet tall and a heavier set person, and was like that 5 years ago, is that person. And it's not just that. They are going to ask you to ignore the descriptions given by each and every person that saw the shooter live. And members of the jury, these witnesses, each and every one of them are going to give you a description somewhere between 5'5" and 5'11". The other description they're going to give you, each of these witnesses that saw this person: slim, slender, thinner. And all those witnesses, they're going to ask you, the government.
I ain't gonna lie. Queso do look way bigger than that. Look like he was always bigger than this for real.
Civilian witnesses, discredit them. Don't believe them. They were wrong. The witnesses that they're going to ask you to believe are the ones who were actually involved in this murder. That's right. One by one, they are going to be walking them in here, some of them through that back door. Each one of them, hoping and praying to get some benefit from them. The people that hold all of the power to charge someone, to arrest someone, to drop charges. Then, all of these people are going to point the finger and go, the shooter is Hakeem. They are now going to present you one piece of reliable, direct evidence that definitively proves that Hakeem Robinson is a shooter. It's just going to be based on the lies of the people who actually committed this murder. This, members of the jury, is Hakeem Robinson. Stand up, Hakeem. He is a young, aspiring...
Yo, I ain't never seen. Y'all wonder why. Let me look that up, y'all. Why would two defendants in the same trial need separate juries? In certain multi-defendant criminal cases, separate juries may be necessary to ensure a fair trial for all involved. While joining trials is often done for reasons of judicial economy, the court must carefully weigh this against the potential prejudice to any individual defendant. Conflicting defenses. When co-defendants have mutual antagonistic defenses, meaning one defendant defense relies on incriminating another or disputing their account, a single jury might struggle. All right, I know why. So, Queso didn't get caught on the same. What's up, Chelsea? Queso didn't get caught on the same. Queso wasn't in that video footage running from the from when the father got there, and they supposed to held the lady on a home invasion tip. Evidence that is admissible against one defendant may not be admissible against another. For example, a confession by one co-defendant that implicates another could be admissible against the non-confession party under the Confrontation Clause. In such cases, the judge might need to implement a dual jury system where each defendant has their own jury, so that the inadmissible evidence is only heard by the appropriate jury. Okay. Yeah, I think a lot of people told.
Who 5 years ago was wrenched from his family, his life, and his promising career. All because the government refused to look at literally what is right in front of them.
What would you say to somebody that hasn't tried therapy before?
Just ask yourself if what you're doing in your life.
All because the government refused to look at literally what is right in front of them. And this is why I've asked Hakeem Robinson to stand up in front of you right now, members of the jury. Because you may not have taken too much notice over the past 3 days. Each and every time you walked into the courtroom and you left and we stood up, you didn't realize at that time how important it was to take a look at how tall Hakeem Robinson is and how big he is. But it is going to be the focal point of this trial. Because once you watch that video in the entirety, and then you look at what is standing right in front of you, and you're going to get pictures and stuff around the time that this took place.
Yeah, but she's saying that the witness accounts is nobody. They didn't describe nobody over 5'9". They said that man well over 6 feet. What's up, Biz?
Despite what Mr. Cooper is telling you, he's the same. There will be no doubt in your mind that he is not the person that shot and killed Charles McCormick. So how do we get here? You can have a seat, Hakeem. How do we get here where a clearly innocent person is being accused of a crime that he did not commit? And it boils down to perception versus... How do we get here? You can have a seat, Hakeem. How do we get here?
So I ain't even seeing right there.
No doubt in your mind.
That's him right there with the gray on.
That shot and kills Charles McCormick.
Yeah, he's tall as shit.
Here? You can have a seat, Hakeem. How do we get here where a clearly innocent person is being accused of a crime that he did not commit? And it boils down to perception versus reality. Because you're going to see that Hakeem Robinson, he wasn't arrested until 9 months after the murder. And none of them realized how big he is until he was arrested. But by that time, instead of admitting to the mistake that they made and pulling back and doing an investigation to find out who really did it, they doubled down. And they started to build their case and their witnesses around the idea and the belief that it was Hakeem Robinson.
She running with the Melly defense. She running with the YNW Melly defense. That's the same shit this Melly defense team said they did. Once they decided that Melly was the motherfucking the suspect, They ruled out all other possible avenues of who possibly could have did it. But no,
Now, 5 years ago, January 15th, 2020, right on the brink of the world shutting down, right before the COVID-19 virus, Charles McCormick woke up in the morning, headed to Employment Express Agency on Merrill Road to follow up with getting a job.
Queso.
Little did he know that a man named Dominique Barnum, and I'm going to say this name for the first time, I'm not sure why the state didn't mention this to you, and his friend Chris Brown had been stalking Charles McCormick that day. Dominique Barnum is the one who was checking his Instagram account to see if he was in town that day. Dominique Barnum is the one who pulled up his address on the court clerk's website to find out where he lived. He is the one that then tried to track him down and kill him that morning.
This is not snitching, y'all. This is not telling y'all. Let people understand this. This is not snitching. This is the defense attorney trying to clear her client's name. Like, yo, people gotta understand that, yo. Not telling. They're not going to arrest whoever this guy is because the lawyer is saying that that's who committed the crime. It's not going to happen.
Decided that he wanted to have Charles McCormick killed was all because of a song that he didn't like the lyrics to. The whole story that Mr. Cooper failed to mention to you members of the jury is that Mr. Barnum will just tell you, I just didn't like that he was singing something he didn't know about. That's the reason why Charles McCormick is dead. And this man, members of the jury, Dominique Barnum, the man who planned and orchestrated the murder of Charles McCormick, is going to be the government's star witness in this case. That is the person who they cut it.
We know you hear it all the time. Why Youngstown State University?
That is the person who they cut it.
So that's why they got separate juries. The fuck? The fuck happened?
The defense attorney, more kill him that morning, was singing something he didn't know about. That's the reason why Charles McCormick is dead. And this man, members of the jury, Dominique Barnum, the man who planned and orchestrated the murder of Charles McCormick, is going to be the government's star witness in this case. That is the person who they cut it.
Oh yeah, so I should just cut out.
Well, members of the jury, you are going to hear that he lied to police officers. You are going to hear that he lied to prosecutors. You are going to hear that he lied in depositions. You're going to hear that he lied to defense attorneys. More important,
I told y'all, yo, most rats tell multiple different stories, man. Most street rats always give multiple accounts of the situation. You know, they always try to keep it silent first before they end up telling every motherfucking thing. That's why a lot of their testimony is incredible.
you are going to hear that he took the stand in another case and lied in a hearing in front of a judge. And he's going to tell you the reason he did that, because he wanted the defendant to go free so he could kill him himself. That is their star witness, who they're going to ask you to believe. This man was caught red-handed within 24 hours of the murder of Charles McCormick. And months go by of him denying his involvement. And when he realized that who they thought the shooter was, Hakeem Robinson, he pounced on it. He was like, this is how I'm going to get out of here. He decided he was going to lie to the government to get what he wanted, which is the hope of freedom. All he had to do and all he had to say was that Hakeem Robinson is a person behind that mask. And in exchange, I know Mr. Cooper was saying, oh, he's facing life, and that the judge hasn't sentenced him yet. But members of the jury, he's going to tell you the reasons he's doing this, because before this, he was facing mandatory life in prison. He would have died in prison. And in exchange for pointing the finger at Hakeem Robinson, he is hoping to get out in 20 years. Mind you, he's already served 5 of it. So in 15 years, he is hoping to go free. And Dominic Barnum, not going to be the only one. Another witness that they are going to put on this witness stand and ask you to believe, a man by the name of Abdul Robinson Sr., aka Blue. Now, Mr. Cooper got up here and told you that this man is Hakeem's father, his biological father, but the whole truth is, members of the jury, he's just Hakeem's DNA contributor.
Yo, a bitch. You don't need to take care. You say you a dirty bitch. You mean to tell me he ain't gonna take care of the boy and snitch on him? God damn. If you don't take care of your kids, you should be obligated to at least take a charge. The fuck? The state, the state go after you for child support. That could be his child support payment. You ain't take care of this boy his whole life, yo. You are obligated to take this case for y'all. Get him for life. Free Queso.
The truth is, he has 9 other children by 5 different women that we know about. He has probably fathered a significant percentage of the men or women in Duval County. He was never involved in Hakeem's early life and only came around when Hakeem started to become a little recognized, a little famous with his music, and he started to make some real money. He actually tried to become Hakeem's manager. As you will learn in this trial, in 2020, Hakeem was a local celebrity. He was a rap musician. And you're going to see that it was Blue is going to do what he's doing in this case. He uses people, and he was trying to use Hakeem. He is using the prosecutors in this case to get out of the 2 murder cases that we know that he have committed. He, just like Dominic Barnum, was caught red-handed in this case.
I told y'all. See, that's why they got separate juries.
He is the person that Dominic Barnum.
That's why they got separate juries, y'all. Queso wasn't caught on the same. Queso wasn't caught on the same. It's a video. It's a video that they got of the father, and I think one of the other brothers and the other guy running through a backyard. Queso ain't on that video. Queso didn't even get booked at the time. He got booked 9 months later. So that's why they got separate juries. We ready to go listen to this shit in the car. The fuck up out of here. Out of here. Yeah, hey Chelsea. Opening statements and the closing statements let you know who going to win the trial. A lot of times. I always say that. The most important part of the trial is the opening statements. That's the most important part. That's the most important part of any trial. It lets you know what evidence they got and what angle the defense and the prosecution is going to go with their narrative. Yeah, she is. She doing her thing. And she got swag with it. I told y'all swag. Swag is important. For any defense attorney, any prosecutor, you gotta have bravado. You gotta be able to sway the jury with your words. Like, that shit is a must. Hold up. Wait, I gotta hook this phone up. This shit. Fuck around ready to die. Yeah, this shit is ready to die. I don't know, y'all. I ain't really hear everything. But I mean, I know it is doubt with that picture. It's definitely doubt with that picture off the rip. That picture that they said was Queso. Queso is. We always thought that, though. I always thought Queso was much bigger than that. And then you got people testifying that's implicated in the case. They're not really credible witnesses. But let's check it out, though.
Called for help to pick him and Leroy Whitaker up after they had broken the prosecutors in this case to get out of the 2 murder cases that we 20. Hakeem was a local celebrity. He was around real money. He actually tried to become Hakeem's manager.
Oh, let's go back to that.
Now, Mr. Cooper got up here and told you that this man is Hakeem's father, his biological father. But the whole truth is, members of the jury, he's just Hakeem's DNA contributor. The truth is, he has 9 other children by 5 different women.
Damn.
That we know about. He has probably fathered a significant percentage of the men or women in Duval County.
Damn.
He was never involved in Hakeem's early life, and only came around when Hakeem started to become a little recognized, a little famous with his music.
Oh, he's a bitch.
Started to make some real money.
Yo, but that makes sense. That now it makes sense that he's a rat. I keep telling y'all, yo, snitching is bigger than what you think. Niggas better stop praising these rat ass niggas. Everything that she said tells me that he's a rat before he ever even took the stand. So you ain't do shit for this boy, and you pop up back around. Now he got some clout. Oh yeah, you're a rat. You're a snitch on a nigga too. Keep telling y'all, yo, pay attention to that shit, man.
He actually tried to become Hakeem's manager. As you will learn in this trial, in 2020, Hakeem was a local celebrity. He was a rap musician. And you're going to see that it was Blue is going to do what he's doing in this case. He uses people, and he was trying to use Hakeem. He is using the prosecutors in this case to get out of the 2 murder cases that we know that he has committed. He, just like Dominique Barna, was caught red-handed in this case. He is the person that Dominique Barna called for help to pick him and Leroy Whitaker up after they had broken into Barbara Buckley's home. But what you're also going to hear, members of the jury, and what is most important, and that's in a completely separate homicide case. They're co-defendants in that case, and they're co-defendants in this case. And you're going to learn that Blue, this ain't his first time cooperating with law enforcement. He's done that before, so he has experience.
I ain't
He
surprised.
knows that when he's in trouble and he is caught,
I ain't
if I
surprised.
say what the government wants to hear, I get out. He's done it before, and he's going to do it again in this courtroom.
Dirty bastard.
And what's more troubling with Blue, members of the jury?
Yo, you shouldn't be able to be a 2-time rat, yo. Fuck that. You only get a chance. If they need to make it a provision in law, yo. You only can rat once. You know what I mean? You can't just be out this bitch just being a motherfucking. Every time you catch a case, you telling on niggas. Nah, fuck no. You told on the last case. You can't tell on this one, Pops. You know what I mean? Pops, you can't tell this time. You told 4 years ago. At least make it, you gotta make it like a gap. You can only tell once every 10 years, yo. If you get in trouble for this 10-year time frame, bitch, you gonna have to take this case. We ain't letting you tell. That's what they need to start doing, yo. You know what I mean? How many years ago you told? 7? Oh yeah, nope. Hey, if you'd held off for 3 more years, you could have used it again, but nope, not this time, buddy. Out this bitch ain't take. How you gonna not take care of your kids, then tell on them? Like, god damn, yo, these niggas is vicious. There is some vicious people in this world, man. That man ain't take care of that boy, then told on him. Yo, like, you should be obligated to at least take the case. God damn. It's the least you can do for the young brother. Shit. You ain't raise him. You ain't teach him nothing. Y'all out this bitch committing crimes with him. Take the case. Nigga, man up. Nigga, for once in your life. Nigga. Bluffing ass Paps. They need to beat you up.
In exchange for his testimony in this
I
case,
see.
he is hoping to get 76 months.
Whoa.
76 months. He's already served 60. So in less than 2 years.
Yo, is this a Fed case? Yo, I just keep saying the government. Ain't this a state case, ain't it? Ain't this a state case? I'm pretty sure it's a state case.
He's hoping to be back on the streets.
What's up, Kyle?
Duval County.
I invented the podcast One Sheet in 2013 when I started booking entrepreneurs as guests on podcasts, and it has 3 main.
Duval County.
I think it is a state case.
Now, Mr. Cooper just got up there and said the testimony against Hakeem being involved in this work murder is going to be corroborated by reliable evidence. It is not. None of the credible, reliable evidence that he's going to bring in here says that Hakeem Robinson is the guy in that picture. Another one of the witnesses that they're going to bring in front of you, another one that was in that little diagram that they showed, Torgon Williams. And this is even worse, members of the jury, because their own lead detective is going to tell you they've known for 5 years that Torgon Williams was involved in this homicide. Dominic Barlow, years ago, told them Torgon Williams was involved. But he gets a full pass. He's not walking through that door. He's walking through that door. Never been arrested, full-blown immunity for his testimony in this case. And you wonder, wait, why would that happen 5 years later? Well, that's because Torgon Williams last year got arrested for trafficking in meth. That's the first time he decided to come forward and go, hey, wait a second, I'm in trouble. Prosecutors, I think I know, I have information.
I ain't gonna lie, yo, she is very convincing. What? Hold on, y'all. Fucking sound. Alright. Yeah, she is very convincing, man.
That you might want. And by this time, members of the jury, 4 years have passed, and this case was plastered all over the internet for anyone to look up and see what they needed to find out about what they needed to say. After he decided to give a statement against Hakeem Robinson, what did they do? They dropped his state case. Dismissed. No action. Then the federal government decided to pick up his case. And Mr. Williams, as they call him to testify, is going to tell you, well, I'm hoping that the feds are going to be a little lenient on me because I am helping in this homicide case. Not one of their witnesses, members of the jury that take the stand that tried to point the finger at Hakeem Robinson, not one of them are unbiased. Each one of them that are going to walk in here have some angle. They either are trying to help themselves, to get themselves out of their trouble with the government, or something for a loved one.
This is a Fed case, y'all. Hold on, y'all. Let me see something. Rapper. Oh, she keeps talking about the government. Maybe she worked Fed cases. They say it's state. She must be a federal lawyer or something. Must be a federal lawyer. She is speaking a lot of government talk and months and shit like that. She must typically try Fed cases. I want to hear the state opening arguments too.
Those? To get themselves out of their trouble with the government? Or something for a loved one? Each one of them that points the finger in some way, shape, or form to Hakeem Robinson is hoping to get something. And not something small. Freedom. But members of the jury, what Mr. DeCoste and I are going to ask you to do is to listen to the reliable, credible witnesses in this case. Because what you will see that all the reliable witnesses say was that they actually saw them with his own eyes, as I told you before. Slim, slender, 5'8" to 5'11". Some of them say 5'5" to 5'8". Notice that not once, when Mr. Cooper was giving his opening statement, did he give you a description. I'm happy to tell you that. And I'm talking about not just civilians, I'm talking about trained police officers. The one who took chase, you notice when Mr. Cooper was talking to you? Oh, well, he was far away. He was jumping the fence and didn't get a good look. He's getting you guys ready to make excuses for why the description does not match Hakeem Robinson, and not even close. Officer Collins is a trained police officer, been doing this for 20 years, knows how to give information like that so that other people, other officers who are listening, he knows to give reliable information. He may come up in here now, 5 years later, and try to backpedal, members of the jury. Not sure, I don't remember. But you remember what he said at the time. That's the most reliable. Before everyone realized that the descriptions, wait, they don't match. And it's not just him. It's not just Officer Collins. You're going to hear from Officer Graham, another one who saw the shooter in this case. You know what his description was? 21-year veteran with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, 5'8" to 5'10". Now, those are just the officers. Next, we're going to talk about the civilian witnesses. You're going to hear from Victor Kruger. Mr. Cooper mentioned him. He's the guy with the dash cam in his vehicle, the person that was probably the closest to the shooting, who, and he's right, happenstance, just happened to have this video recording on his dash cam when this happened. But what did you not hear in the state's opening statement? Mr. Kruger gave a description. You want to know what that description was? 5'10" to 5'11", and he was thin. Clearly not Hakeem Robinson. Not the only one. Javaris Roberts, who worked in the Hibet Sports in that strip mall, described the shooter as 5'8" to 5'9", on the skinnier side. Then we've got Abera Mala, a woman who was in her garage having coffee in the morning, sees someone matching the shooter's description, jump a fence and walk right in front of her. She describes him as shorter than 6 feet. But the most important one, Renata Boston. If you recall when Mr. Cooper was talking, he mentioned that the shooter ran through some woods and came out on the other side, and that magically Natalie Gant was there to pick up the shooter because she knew where he was. He didn't mention what Renata Boston described the shooter to look at, because she saw him come out of the woods. Slim build, 5'8" to 5'9", between 160 to 170 pounds. That is not even close to Hakeem Robinson. Multiple independent civilian witnesses, multiple police officers, all describing someone that could not possibly be Hakeem Robinson. And all their testimony, all of them, the ones whose testimony isn't bought with a promise of freedom, they're all consistent. It's clearly not him. The only eyewitnesses that will say that the shooter is Hakeem are the ones who have cut deals with the government. And they're not going to just present these eyewitnesses to you. As Mr. Cooper said, they're going to present all this other stuff. But take a close look at the details of what they present to you. Because not one piece of that evidence is going to be direct evidence that Hakeem Robinson is the shooter. Let's start with the cell phone evidence, because it's going to be a lot. All the records that they're going to produce to you, all the cell phone records that definitively show 100% Dominique Barner using his phone, Leroy Whitaker using his phone, Abdul Robinson Jr. using his phone, Abdul Robinson Sr. using his phone. All of them are communicating with each other. You know whose phone isn't being used? Or they don't have a record of being used at all? Hakeem Robinson. Mr. Cooper just got up here and told you that he's going to try to put a phone in the possession of Hakeem Robinson, a phone number that begins with 478. You know whose phone that's registered to? Abdul Robinson Sr., aka Blues, former dead best friend. That phone is registered to his father, not to him. And you're going to see that that phone the day before was pinging in the same place that his father was. They're going to try to make you think and connect that phone to Hakeem Robinson, and they will be unable to do so. Next up, fingerprints and DNA. They're going to try to present you with DNA and fingerprint evidence trying to put Hakeem in that car on that day. But members of the jury, their own expert will tell you, their experts are going to tell you, we have no idea when that DNA was left there, or how. We have no idea
what I missed,
when or where it got there.
What's up, Lisa?
All that proves to you, members of the jury, is Hakeem Robinson knows Leroy Whitaker. They're cousins. They hang out together. That's a fact that we're not disputing.
Yeah, what I missed?
I'm Noel Honig, and I'm a director and a designer. But if I'm working with type in Photoshop...
She's still cooking?
They hang out together. That's a fact that we're not disputing. And what did Mr. Cooper fail to tell you? That DNA was found on a t-shirt that was in the car. It's not just Hakeem Robinson's DNA. The expert is going to tell you that it's mixed up with 3 other people that I don't know who it is that's on that shirt. Then they're going to tell you that, well, I'm going to tell you that the evidence will show that a man's DNA was found in that car. That's going to say, I don't know how my DNA got in there, but it's there. as someone that is completely disassociated with this case. All that's going to prove, members of the jury, is that Hakeem Robinson, Leroy Whitaker, Torgon Williams, they're all friends and that they know each other. He told you that car was had been reported stolen for 2 months. They had been all in and out of that car. That DNA and that fingerprint does not place him in the car on the day of the murder. You're going to hear about all of the DNA.
Yo, she is ripping this case in shreds, yo. Off the rip. Yo, she providing reasonable doubt about every single piece of evidence. Every single piece. We gotta hear what the state said after her.
That they have been unable to identify or match with someone else. But members of the jury, what I do want you to know is, even though Hakeem hung out with all these guys and he grew up with them and stuff, Hakeem was different because he was making it. Charles McCormick, they said he put out that song. He didn't put out a song. I mean, no one knew about that song. I mean, he tried to release it. He wasn't on the level of Hakeem Robinson, aka, you're going to hear this name a lot throughout the course of the trial, Queso. And what you're going to hear, members of the jury, which is going to be very important. 4 days before the murder of Charles McCormick, Hakeem Robinson was signed to a record label that gave him a $40,000 advance. 4 days before. He was making it. He was leading. He was doing his music. All of these people, though, they wanted to be around him. They wanted to share in his fame. But Hakeem cannot be put in this just because he hung around with the wrong people and was friends with them. He is not responsible.
Man, she got me believing Queso not guilty. I don't think he did it. All these years, I believe Queso committed this crime. After listening to her, I ain't so sure, man. I ain't gonna lie. I'm doubting it already. I'm doubting it already. I mean, we still got to hear what the state said, yo. But so far, yo, it don't sound like he did that shit. Or it don't sound like they got proof that he did it. You know, because it ain't about what you know, it's about what you can prove. Don't sound like they got no real proof. It's like it's all speculatory. And you got a whole bunch of niggas, a whole bunch of witnesses telling that's under criminal indictment. You can't trust those guys, man. They might say anything. They're not credible witnesses.
Responsible for what they did in their free time. And even the government, well, I thought the government would agree that you cannot convict someone by association. And that is true, members of the jury. Guilty by association has no place in this courtroom. Mr. Cooper also mentioned something about a social media post. But members of the jury, when you view these pieces of evidence, please take them into context. He said it happened right after he made this post, 7 days after he made this post. Okay? And it's all assumption and speculation with the phrase that he is trying to say that is somehow a confession. That post didn't say, hey, I killed Charles McCormick. He's going to ask you to imply that when he mentioned that had something to do with the murder that happened before that he had nothing to do with. But members of the jury, what we are going to ask, and this is what I'm just going to ask, we are at the beginning of this case, you haven't heard any of the evidence or seen any of the evidence yet. All I ask of you, each of you, is to please just pay close attention and really listen. Because when you strip away all the evidence that isn't either bought with money or the promise of freedom, the truth is going to be staring you right in your face. Focus on the credible, reliable, unbiased testimony from the witnesses, coupled with what you can see in front of them. More importantly,
found the gym. You heard me? When the fuck young ladies find her at? I ain't gonna lie, she is shocked.
Because that is what you will need to see the truth in this case. Because it is not him, members of the jury. Mr. Cooper talked about the fact that this case is going to be a puzzle and that you'll be able to see a picture at the end. But I'm going to tell you this, members of the jury. If one piece of that puzzle doesn't fit, it is not guilty.
That's the fuck I told them niggas. That's how they always try to make shit a puzzle. That's how they was. That's how homicide was, and they was interrogate me. Yeah, I'm trying to put your pieces, trying to put the puzzle together, and I'm trying to put your piece right here. Bitch, I don't got nothing to do with that motherfucking puzzle. You might as well break that puzzle up and redo it because I ain't associated in that puzzle. Y'all got the puzzle wrong. Okay, fucking look at the directions, look at the boxes, see where the pieces fit because I ain't part of that puzzle. Stop trying to put puzzles together. They piss me off with that shit.
Shave the pieces of those puzzles to try to force it to fit. Because when you look, you are going to see the description does not match Hakeem Robinson, not even close. Now, members of the jury, there is a reason why the framers of the Constitution, this country's Constitution, ensured that the government would not have too much control over the freedom of the citizens they are meant to protect. And that was by giving the final word, not to the court, not to the state, but to you. People are innately flawed in that they sometimes can't see the truth when it's standing right, staring them right in front of their face.
Dang,
or they can't admit it when they've made a mistake. You are 12 members of this community.
She ain't lying about that shit.
15 members of this community who have promised to look at this case through fresh eyes. That is all we beg of you, to objectively look at the evidence that is presented to you in this case. Because when you listen to all the credible, reliable evidence in this case, it's only going to prove to you one thing. Hakeem Robinson is innocent. Find him not guilty. Thank you.
The Drag Kings Casino app is the place for jackpots.
I'm sold. She just sold me. That nigga ain't do that shit. Hold on, we gotta find what the prosecution said. I'm sold. Alright. I ain't got no evidence. That nigga do that shit. Fuck that. Let's see what the prosecution said.
Counsel, Mr. Whitaker. On January 15th of 2020, Charles McCormick.
So this is ATK Scotty's attorney right here.
Was shot in a strip mall by a lone gunman. There will be no question about that. You will watch the videotape. There will also be no question whatsoever. Leroy Whitaker did not pull that trigger. Leroy Whitaker had nothing to do with the death of Charles McCormick. That's what the evidence will show. You're gonna watch a video of Charles McCormick being chased down and shot. The shooter, the lone gunman in that video is not Leroy Whitaker. So how are we here? Why are we here? In this room, everything changes. See, before we come into this room, the state of Florida has the absolute power, the choice, the prerogative to charge or not charge whoever they want. But once we come in here to our Hall of Justice, they must prove their allegations. They must prove their allegations with actual, credible evidence. And I urge you to write right now in the notebooks that were provided to you a little topic I suggest to you. Evidence of Leroy Whitaker's participation in this murder. And ladies and gentlemen, there's going to be one thing and only one thing at the very end of all the testimony, everything that you're going to be presented. I mean, one name only, Dominique Barner. That's it. That is it. The state star witness of which their house of cards and their allegations against Mr. Whitaker will collapse. Dominique Barner, an admitted two-time time killer, paid for, self-proclaimed, paid for assassin. Dominic Barner will waltz into this courtroom and he will try to fill the blatant holes in the state's case. Their star witness will explain to you, well, you know, on January 15th, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office hauls me in. See, I don't just have tattoos on my arms. I have 1993 strapped right on my arm. Pretty distinctive. Barbara Buckley did describe that in detail. And so the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office was able to put together a photo spread within hours of Barbara Buckley's home being invaded by Dominic Barner. And lo and behold, she was, in no uncertain terms, you're gonna meet her. She's gonna tell you all. Dominic Barner sure scared me. Dominic Barner came into my home. Dominic Barner choked me out. Dominic Barner got me to the point where I just kind of finally passing out and sat on my couch and then smoked a cigarette. Dominic Barner was caught. And here in the state of Florida, talk about Dominic Barner. One might think, one might assume.
Dominic Barner, a bitch. And I can't stand niggas like, yo, you do all that shit and then turn around and start snitching and shit. Niggas crazy.
Dominic Barner must have walked in on January 15th and said, oh, I need to tell all my sins. Oh, I need to confess. That's not what the evidence is going to show. What you're going to learn is that Dominic Barner came in on January 15th and he told just enough about himself to get him off his case. So let him go. He's still in jail. He's not charged with murder yet. But then you're going to hear, as the murders pile up, see, there's this pesky second murder that you'll hear Dominic Barner was in part of, has admitted to premeditating, has admitted to plea to that charge of a whole separate case where a truly innocent bystander gets killed. Because unfortunately, Dominic Barner misses who he was really gunning for. Interestingly enough, you will ultimately hear Abdul Robinson Sr. also part of that murder, also pled to that separate murder. But as those charges started piling up, Dominic Barner realized, I need to do what I do. I'll cooperate. See, by the time that Leroy Whitaker...
Yo, that's why you guys stop fuck with the rats, yo. I don't know what the fuck be going on in the South. Yo, if I know you're a rat, I ain't gonna sit around and wait for you to rat on me. I'm gonna cut you off for ratting on yo. You feel me? Like, I don't give a fuck if he was a op. I don't give a fuck if he was a civilian. I don't give a fuck who he was. Why is you hanging around with a guy that already told? He already told. Niggas just be sitting around and waiting for the opportunity to get snitched on.
And Dominic Barner started spending any time together. Dominic Barner had already got his first cooperation against somebody completely different out of the way. That's what he did. Abdul Robinson Sr., same thing. Abdul Robinson Sr. has been cooperating since before Leroy Whitaker was born.
God damn.
That's what the evidence was.
You're a long-term rat. The fuck? You think it's crazy? That nigga got tenure. Hey, yo. Abdul Robinson Sr. got tenure as a rat, man. Yeah, I mean, he's experienced. An experienced rat. He got years in this shit. These niggas wild. It's a wild world. Yo, stay the fuck out the streets, man. I'm trying to tell you, yo. Stay the fuck out the streets, yo. The streets is not where it's at. These niggas do not abide by the rules no more.
Born. That's what the evidence will show. Dominique Barner will be the one and only piece of evidence the state will even attempt to convince you that Leroy Whitaker had any part in the death of Charles McCormick. The evidence will not be there. You're going to hear from Barbara Buckley, and I'll tell you up front, I think you'll like her. She's feisty. No one pulls anything over her eyes. And she's going to walk in and she's going to honestly talk to you about that morning. How it was just a normal morning. How she sees two people in her house and she says in very colorful language, "Get out of my house!" Dominique Barner didn't accept that and then was violent with her. And because of that, she was able, in no uncertain terms, with confidence, with 1993 emblazoned on his arm, she picks him out. Dominique Barner did that. The second person, the other person in her home, she can't identify. What will the state try to rely on? Dominique Barner. Dominique Barner and Abdul Robinson Sr. learned the system. They've learned what to say and how to say it. I urge you, listen carefully as they describe their cooperation agreements. For the two murders that Dominique Barner will tell you in no uncertain terms that he thought about, that he wanted to happen, he put into action, and did commit the murder for two human beings being gone. What does he look forward to? Well, he has every hope and expectation of walking amongst us again in 20 short years. No mandatory life imprisonment for Dominique Barner. Dominique Barner, I sing in the company line and look forward to 20 years. That's the state evidence. You're going to hear from DNA experts. And I urge you right now, as I remember from jury selection, some of you had done 23andMe, Ancestry.com. I urge you to listen carefully. You're going to hear words like, well, this unknown profile, well, it's consistent with perhaps Mr. Whitaker, and provide computations to try to explain that to you. It is not, I submit to you, and you'll ultimately evaluate for yourselves, like what was revealed for each of you when you did 23andMe and Ancestry.com.
Objection, Judge.
In the ground. I'll sustain that objection. You're going to hear and see from FBI agent Mr. Corley. And he's going to actually map out for you different phone numbers, and he'll tell you up front, these are approximations of where these phones might have been communicating with towers. And it'll be a lot of convoluted radio waves, all that kind of thing. But he'll try to tell you where he believes these phones were in general terms in Jacksonville. What he won't be able to tell you is who was using those phones or when. And you'll have to listen carefully, and I urge you to do so, for all of the testimony in regards to whose phone is who, and how in the world do we know that person is using it. One thing you'll learn from Agent Corley as well as Jacksonville.
Hey, yo, these attorneys pay real close attention to Melly trial. They paid real close attention to Melly trial, man. Cause that's the same argument that Melly defense attorneys made, and it was effective. You know, they try to talk about this cell phone pay like it's definitive evidence, but it ain't. It ain't. Not for real. That don't mean that was me using that phone. Y'all remember, y'all, it's just about creating doubt. That's all it's about. Creating doubt. It's a lot of doubt in cell phone pinging evidence.
Sheriff's office is that oftentimes they'll get phone records for a month or maybe even 2 months and go through the phones, determine who are these people talking to. Just a way, an investigative tool, if you will, to determine who's actually using these phones. Ultimately, no such evidence will be presented like that in this case, as will there be many things that you will wonder about, but will not be presented. Why? Because the evidence doesn't exist. At the close of all the evidence, after you carefully and critically analyze it, is on a quest for conviction. They will do so on a house of cards. Dominique Barner, 2-time murderer, paid for assassin. And at the close of all the evidence, you will ask, you will suggest and demand that you render the only verdicts that will be appropriate based on the evidence you receive. Those are verdicts of not guilty for Leroy Whitaker. Thank you.
Dang. I ain't gonna lie, she did a good job.
Strong partnerships create exceptional experiences. Shure's flexible solutions provide extraordinary audio for.
She did it up too for real. So basically, there's 2 star witnesses are known rats and murderers. So their integrity is already in question. These niggas will say any motherfucking thing. Dominic Bonner and Ksoo fall. They'll say anything. I don't believe them niggas. These niggas ain't do that shit. These niggas lying. They trying to say anything to get up out of that motherfucker. I told y'all, in my case, I got a guy that the state said was my co-defendant, and he wasn't even my co-defendant. Motherfuckers was facing a death penalty and told to get life. Yo, so you gotta be careful, yo, when people was under indictment, yo. They'll say any motherfucking thing, man. This motherfucker went from saying he knew who did it to he was the shooter. But in reality, that nigga wasn't even there. And pled guilty to the shit. So, yo, that's why I be having so much scrutiny with the state's theory of the sequence of events. Because I know for a fact that these motherfuckers will lie and make up shit. They will coerce witnesses, like I always tell y'all. That shit real. That shit real, man. I already set this up so I can I know what I gotta do. So we're gonna go back to the trial. Cause I still wanna hear the prosecution's theory. We ain't heard that yet. So we heard Kesoo's attorney. That was ATK Scotty's attorney. We gotta hear what the prosecution narrative is. Yo, hit that like button, yo. Why we only got 50 likes? Yo, we probably had 1,000 people in here. Hit that like button, man. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, man. We keep covering this whole trial. You said what? Yeah, she is. See that. She definitely that. Motherfucking Young and Ace must have kicked out some bread because these ain't public defenders. These ain't public defenders at all. These are paid attorneys. You feel me? These are paid attorneys. You can tell. Oh my God. I hate this shit, yo. There was really no excuse for this. Shit, fucking stupid.
Ignite the fairway.
With Fireball.
Jiminy Cricket, you don't even have a club in your hand.
And an opening statement gives the attorneys a chance to tell you what evidence they believe will or any other form of communication. You cannot do any research about the case or look up any words or information about this case. And if you become aware of any violation of these rules at all, you must please notify court personnel of the violation. Now, during the course of the trial, the court will take recesses both during the day and, of course, overnight, and you will be permitted to separate and go about your personal affairs. During these recesses, you must not discuss this case with anyone, nor allow anyone to say anything to you or in your presence about the case. If anyone attempts to say anything to you or in your presence about the case, immediately leave that person and report the matter to one of my bailiffs, who will then notify me. If he or she persists, then likewise notify my bailiff, who will notify me. In addition, you cannot have any cell phones, tablets, laptops, or other electronic devices in this courtroom. You may use these devices during recesses, of course, but even then you must not use your cell phone or electronic device to find out any information about the case or to communicate with anyone about the case or the people involved in the case. Do not take photographs, video recordings, or audio recordings of the proceedings or of your fellow jurors. At the end of the case, while you are deliberating, you also must not communicate with anyone outside the jury room. If someone needs to reach you to contact you in an emergency, the court can receive messages and deliver them to you without delay. So if a contact phone number hasn't already been provided, we will do so before we leave this evening. Now, this case must be tried by you only on the evidence presented during your collective presence in this courtroom in front of the defendants, the attorneys, and the court. That means jurors must not conduct any investigation on their own, and this includes reading newspapers, watching television, using a computer, a cell phone, the internet, any electronic device, or any other means at all to get information related to this case or to the people and places involved in this case. And this applies whether you're at the courthouse, at home, or anywhere else. You must not visit places mentioned in the trial or use the internet to look up maps or pictures to see any place discussed during the trial. What are the reasons for all these rules? These rules are imposed because jurors must decide the case without distraction and only on the evidence presented in the courtroom. If you investigate, research, or make inquiries on your own, the trial judge has no way to assure that the information you find is proper for this case. The parties, likewise, have no opportunity to dispute or challenge the accuracy of what you might find. And that is contrary to our judicial system, which assures every party the right to ask questions about and challenge the evidence being considered against it, and to present argument with respect to that evidence. So any independent investigation by a juror unfairly and improperly prevents the parties from having the opportunity that our judicial system promises. And any juror who violates these restrictions jeopardizes the fairness of these proceedings, and a mistrial could result, which would require this entire trial process to start over. A mistrial is a tremendous expense and inconvenience,
Hey, JB,
not
make
just
sure
for
you
the parties
subscribe.
and for the court, but for the taxpayers.
Awesome.
So if you violate these rules, you make you think I prefer.
I want to hear the state story, y'all. See what the state had to say.
This concludes part one of the instructions, and when all the evidence has been presented.
Yeah, they need to fix this goddamn audio tomorrow. This audio was choppy.
After the attorneys have made their closing arguments, then the court will provide you with part two of the instructions. So at this time, I will call upon the state for its opening statement.
Let's see if he got swag. That's what you gotta pay attention to, yo. This nigga got swag. Or is he like the clear eyes guy?
May it please the court?
Yes.
Counsel. We are all gathered here today because of a murderous plot
I don't like him.
that unfolded on January 15th.
I don't like him already. I don't like him already, man. He got to come harder than that.
2020. A wicked, premeditated murder, a vile scheme that was birthed by a specific group of co-defendants. Individuals who collectively, consciously, and callously worked together to ensure January 15th, 2020 was the day 23-year-old Charles McCormick died. The murder of Charles McCormick was personal. It was thought out. And it was brazenly executed in broad daylight without any fear of accountability. Why? Why did this group of co-defendants think they could exert such violence with impunity? The answer to that comes down specifically to who was involved. Because this was not just any group of co-defendants. This was not a group of strangers. This was a group of individuals who knew one another, were close to one another, that were family. Every single one of them that participated in this crime were members of ATK, a local rap group. All but one of them were related by blood. This was a crime committed by family. The names of the guilty: Hakeem Robinson, sitting right here, whose nickname is Keemy to his family, Queso, his rap name, Leroy Whitaker, a co-defendant sitting before him, a cousin, whose nickname is Scotty, Dominique Barner, whose nickname is Butta, their friend, their co-defendant, the only one not related to the others by blood. But he might as well have been, because for years, they have known Barner. For years, they have accepted him. For years, he is one of them. Abdul Robinson Jr., nicknamed Kareem K. Crazy, Hakeem Robinson's biological brother. Hakeem Robinson's mother and Leroy Whitaker's father are siblings. Abdul Robinson Jr., Hakeem's biological brother, Leroy Whitaker's cousin, and Torrigon Williams, another cousin, also played a role in this crime. After the murder of Charles McCormick was completed by Dominique Barner, Hakeem Robinson, and Leroy Whitaker.
Yeah, he ain't saying nothing. He trying to connect them through blood, but what the defense attorney just explained is, yeah, they blood, but at the same time, the father they ain't really that close. You know what I mean?
What they three had just accomplished, their premeditated murder of Charles McCormick, Abdul Robinson Sr., nicknamed Blue, also got involved. That is Hakeem Robinson's father.
They got the father at the top of the motherfucking tree. But he's the rat. They need to put his ass at the bottom, like all we at the bottom. So this the he telling too. So he telling and he telling. We don't know about the rest of them.
And he had to come to the rescue of Hakeem Robinson's cousin.
No, this the
Leroy
prosecutor right
Whitaker,
here.
And their friend and their co-defendant, Dominique Barner.
The Indian lady. The Indian lady was the first lady we heard was Queso attorney. The second lady we heard was his attorney right here. Now it's the prosecutor.
And Leroy Whitaker, after fleeing with Hakeem Robinson from the murder, trying to escape the police, crashing their car. Dominique Barner and Leroy Whitaker went one way, Hakeem Robinson went another. Dominique Barner and Leroy Whitaker found themselves trapped in a house that Dominique Barner and Leroy Whitaker broke into to escape the police that were looking for all three of them, trying to avoid getting caught, avoiding accountability for the murder they just committed in broad daylight. And because Dominique Barner and Leroy Whitaker were trapped, Abdul Robinson Sr. had to come pick them up. He picked them up and drove Dominique Barner and Leroy Whitaker away from that home, away from the police, and it was during that ride that he found out exactly what happened. But he continued to help them and drove them away. And for his actions, he's been charged with accessory after the fact. Throughout history, one common truth has been shared by every person who has drawn breath in this world. There is a day you were born.
He ain't good enough,
and
y'all.
a day you die. And between
Them defense attorneys gonna eat his ass alive. He ain't got no swag. I mean, he might not be the only attorney, but hope he got backup. Cause I ain't gonna lie, Queso attorney look like she coming gunning. You heard me. Even the other boy attorney, Scotty.
those two moments, the life that unfolds, uniquely shaped by one's choices and one's actions. Some of those choices are more profound than others.
Hit that like button, y'all.
Some actions more impactful. But when a group of individuals, even a family, when they come together and intentionally commit a violent crime, a murder, shattering the laws we all share, there must be accountability. And it is precisely for that very reason that in this courtroom, today, 5 years later, Hakeem Robinson and Leroy Whitaker are sitting before you. And at this moment in the trial, with them, though unseen, are two simple but essential questions. Questions that the state will answer for you with the evidence. And those two questions, which you can write down, where were they? And what
Yo,
did
this
they
probably,
do on January?
yo, this probably one of the only positives that we got on YouTube, yo, that we get the chance to. They live streaming these trials. I mean, that's probably the best thing that the black sector of YouTube got. It's fucked up that these people got themselves in these situations and they even on trial. But at least we get to watch it and monitor it to make sure the state is playing fair. You know, because a lot of times they don't play fair, y'all. You know what I mean? Like most times, especially in murder cases, yo, they don't play fair, man. For real.
January 15th, 2020.
Hit that like button,
Simple
y'all.
questions. Where were they?
So,
and
Lord.
what did they do? But those simple questions for Hakeem Robinson and Leroy Whitaker have terrifying answers. Answers that they are desperate to keep hidden from each and every one of you. The truth can be a funny thing. Sometimes, the more out of desperation you try to suppress it, the more the guilty fight and rail against each and every aspect of it, the more obvious it becomes. For example, and I want you to hear these despicable words, let them sink in, because these are the words of Hakeem Robinson. Kill a nigga, then go get my toes done. Kill a nigga, then go get my toes done.
Hey, oh.
Those are his words.
Hey, what the fuck? He couldn't wait to see that shit. Your pie was gearing up for that shit for weeks. Oh, I can't wait to have a chance to see the N-word and it don't be criticized. No, bitch. You could have said the N-word. Brian still ain't say it. Dirty bastard. He probably say that shit often.
That he attached to a video he took of himself as he sat in a chair in a nail salon getting a pedicure.
Brian still
Just
said
a couple
N-word.
days after running Charles McCormick down on foot and executing him.
I went all upstairs and do the fuck I was supposed
You're
to
going
do.
to see that video. You're going to read his words. You're going to see his tired feet. And when you look at that video, when you see him, when you see his words telling you what he did, believe it. And let that image, his answer to both of you, all of you, about what he did, sear your collective memories. On January 15th of 2020, these two co-defendants.
If your child has used Roblox, you might be owed significant compensation from a lawsuit currently underway. Find out if you qualify. While marketed as safe for children, Roblox has allegedly become what investigators call a hunting ground for predators targeting kids as young as 8. Parents across the country are shocked to discover that despite safety promises, their children were exposed to grooming, inappropriate.
Your pie was like, honey, guess what? I finally get to say it. She's like, what do you mean, dear? Guess. Take a wild guess what I get to say in court today. Your pie said, honey, take a wild guess what I get to say in court today. Just say it, please. I get to say the N-word. I get to say nigga. I know we say it a lot in the house. You know, we normally say it behind closed doors, but I finally get to say it in open court. He couldn't wait for that shit.
They shared a motive, they shared a goal, and for their deeds, they will forever share guilt. What was their undoing? What has brought them here before all of you today? Simply, the combination of arrogance, mistakes, and bad luck. For justice's sake, thankfully, the murder of Charles McCormick was captured on video. Thankfully, these two co-defendants in particular left a trail of overwhelming and inescapable evidence in their violent, chaotic wake.
Yeah, but he's not mentioning none of this evidence. He haven't mentioned no evidence yet. I don't think they got a strong case, y'all. I don't think they got a strong case. I mean, how much longer he gonna be talking? He still got some time, but he haven't mentioned no evidence yet.
Evidence that is much like an avalanche, quickly gaining momentum until that evidence ultimately and unavoidably catches up
He ain't said
and
nothing.
buries all doubt in this case. So what kind of evidence are you going to hear?
There we go.
Are you going to see?
Let's find out.
Evidence in virtually every form imaginable. You're going to see evidence, you're going to hear evidence directly related to the motive in this case, because it was a personal motive, and we'll talk about that in a moment. You're going to see the video of the murder, and that video is a powerful piece of evidence, because not only does it capture the murder, it also captures the vehicle that was used by Dominic Barner, Hakeem Robinson, and Leroy Whitaker when they committed this crime. A stolen Nissan Altima. And you will see that vehicle on video. And there will be no doubt.
Yo, but that's similar to what they did with D Rose. Yo, when a neighbor in a hood steal a car, there was multiple people riding that bitch. So you might see one group of guys one day, the next day see a whole another group of guys. The first group of guys do a crime, and the second group of guys get caught with the car, but that don't necessarily mean they did that crime.
That vehicle was occupied by
exactly. That's what I'm saying,
this crime. And that vehicle was collected, well, evidence inside it was collected immediately after this crime, immediately after they fled from committing the murder from the police.
Grip, stability, precision. That's the essence of drugs.
Yeah, yo, that's not really strong evidence. Especially you already heard defense attorney talk about that evidence and said that it was multiple people DNA in that car.
That car crashed, and inside it, amongst the items that were collected, DNA evidence. DNA evidence for Leroy Whitaker and Hakeem Robinson. Fingerprint evidence for Hakeem Robinson. DNA fingerprints forever tethering them to that car, to their crimes. You will also see on that video of the murder.
Yo, but that's what I'm saying. Exactly that car doesn't necessarily tie them to the crimes. It just ties them to the car. You know what I mean? You understand what I'm saying? It was multiple DNA found in that car. Shit, my DNA could have been in that bitch. You hear me? Like, that don't mean I committed the crime. That just mean I was in the car at one point.
Shooter was wearing. And I want you to pay particular attention to it, because this is a video, not a still photograph. You'll get to see the whole thing. And you will see that the shooter was wearing a two-tone hoodie, gray chest, dark black arms, black hoodie pulled up over his head. And I want you to take note of that, because you will see that same hoodie in photographs and videos wrapped around Hakeem Robinson's guilty body. You will see the distinct firearm that he carried when he committed that murder, when he pulled the trigger. And you will see that same firearm in another video in Hakeem Robinson's hands. Not for entertainment. He used it for murder on January 15, 2020. You also will be presented with call records showing communication amongst these co-defendants and cell site location information, placing Leroy Whitaker, placing Hakeem Robinson where they should not have been, placing them where the guilty. You will see social media posts, in addition to the nail salon video that we've already talked about, another video posted to Hakeem Robinson's Instagram account just a couple days after the murder. A video of Charles McCormick rapping a song. But when you get to Charles McCormick in the video and you see his face, what's added? Hand emojis with the text, bye-bye. And then that's followed up by the nail salon video that we've discussed, where he needed to get his toes done. What I want you to remember, because there is going to be so much evidence in this case against both defendants, and so many different types of evidence, that it's much like a puzzle. While they're powerful on their own, independently, when you put them together, and they come together so easily, so intuitively, when you put these pieces together, you will be presented with the truth of January 15, 2020. And that will be a picture showing each and every one of you who committed this crime. And what will be staring back at you will be the crystal clear pictures of Hakeem Robinson and Leroy Whitaker, just as clear as if you were to turn your gaze over there at this very moment. One of the key pieces of evidence that exists, as I have said, is the video recording of this murder. That video recording exists because Victor Kruger, a citizen, has nothing to do with this, just happened to have a dash cam in his truck, and just happened to be parked at the right place at the right time. That video is completely independent, wholly unbiased, and incapable of lying. It just captured what happened in high definition for each and every one of you to see. And so, when you watch that video, I want you to trust your eyes. Because again, it's not a single photo, it is a video that shows in detail as to Hakeem Robinson, who is the shooter in this case, tracked Charles McCormick down on foot and executed him. Now, that video essentially is going to be a time machine, transporting each and every one of you individually and collectively back 5 years. That's how long ago this was. 5 years. Placing you in the position Victor Kruger found himself when he witnessed Charles McCormick's final terror-filled seconds on this earth. But you will get to watch that video from the safety of this courtroom.
One of you can create your own website by saying, "This is what I want." With Wix, you can. First up.
And I want to be very clear. This is a crime that happened 5 years ago, so when you watch that video, you're going to see the shooter looked like 5 years ago. Not today. It doesn't matter. It was 5 years ago. Scam. This video is going to be very, very powerful. And I want you to pay attention to it. But I do want to be clear about one thing. Based on the location of the camera, it does not capture the shooter's face. Just didn't. But it's okay, it didn't have to. It captured more than enough detail that that video, along with all of the other evidence in this case, will make it crystal clear that that individual was Hakeem Robinson. I don't expect that there will be any debate that what happened to Charles McCormick on that video is anything other than first-degree murder. I don't believe that will be a debate. The only question in this case for you to decide who's responsible. That is it. Bringing us back to those two very simple questions. Where were they and what did they do? What was the motive? Why did this crime take place? To fully understand that, why the crime took place, and the significance of the day, you have to know what happened exactly 1 year prior, on January 15th, 2019. On January 15th, 2019, Willie Addison, whose rap name is Boss Coon, was in a vehicle with family when shots rang out. Willie Addison was struck and ultimately died as a result of his injuries. But he wasn't the only one in the vehicle. Also inside the vehicle on January 15th, 2019,
Yeah, he's not doing a good job. He's not because he didn't turn me out. He ain't doing a good job, yo. He don't got no swag.
Because you may not like him, because he is guilty, that does not absolve Ian Robinson or Leroy Whitaker of their guilt. Does not change what they did. So when Dominic Barner testifies, he's a criminal. He just won't be the only criminal in this courtroom. Another person you will hear from is Abdul Robinson Sr. Family. And when he testifies, you will learn that he has been charged with and pled to 2 different counts of accessory after the fact. One for this case and one for another. Unlike Dominic Barner, there has been a partial negotiation with Abdul Robinson. And the sentence he can get is 20 years. Again, it will be decided by the judge. But he's also in his mid-50s. And he has some health issues. And a sentence of 20 years could take him to his life expectancy. And he knows when he comes in that he's going to be despised, that he's going to be hated by his family, by Hakeem Robinson, Leroy Whitaker, maybe others in this courtroom. Question is not, do you like Abdul Robinson Jr., or excuse me, Sr.? Question isn't,
You're going to try.
do you think he's a good father? The question is, what he has to say, is it corroborated by the evidence? Independent evidence. Evidence he has no control over, that he could not manufacture.
Yo, they don't really have no evidence. See, this is the thing. They don't really have evidence of Queso committing the murder. Nor do they have evidence that ATK Scotty committed the murder. The woman that was in the house that got home invaded said she couldn't identify him. So they basing their whole case, like the defense attorney said, off of these witnesses that's under indictment that has reason and motive to lie. And I don't know if that's going to play well on the jury, man. Especially given the fact that he's not entertaining. Like, yo, to win the case, you got to keep the jury in tune. And he is not doing a good job keeping the jury in tune already. Opening statements. I told y'all before, your opening statements that you know a lot about the trial. You can normally tell who's going to win the case by opening statements. Now, it's not always guaranteed. We're going to watch this trial, though, every day to see what the fuck going on. But we ain't going to be live too long. You know, we've been live 2 hours already. Shit, hit that like button. I just want to talk about the 1017 situation. You know, the Gucci Mane situation. People talking about it ain't Gucci fault. Yo, but whenever a head of any organization, any organization falls, you gotta blame the head. You know what I mean? Like, it ain't no getting around it. It ain't up for debate. It ain't nobody's opinion. It's just facts. And it's backed up by numerous instances of things falling. Like, yo, the head is always in charge, yo. And you can't take the good and not take the bad. And that's what people want to do. People want all the praise when everything is going great. But when shit fall, they want to blame other people. No, hell no. Nope. No, we ain't doing that. The same way you took the praise, it's the same way you take the fall. That's how that shit go. And so far, in this case, it don't look like to me they got no case. It don't look like it's a lot of reasonable doubt. We're going to watch this every day. And I appreciate everybody that tapped to make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new. It's another day, keep it you new. in the mouth.